Thank you, Tom. Thank you, everybody. Good morning. Hopefully your morning started off better than mine. I got a speeding ticket on the way down here. Nice little trap on I-25 and 58th where they drop it to 55 miles an hour just to make sure people like me don't know that. I'm a native. I know that. So I was on my way and I got a speeding ticket. So, there you go. It's going to get better from here. We're going to have a great day. And I love, Tom, that you ask everybody to introduce themselves. It gives me an opportunity to get a sense of who's here. And just from a short introduction, I have a little bit of a knowledge base of probably what you want from me today. But just to be sure, I want you to understand from the ground rules, the only ground rule is that this is not about me. It's about you. So if you have questions, ideas, you want to share, you want me to qualify or quantify something, interrupt me and let me know. My talk, our time together today is deliberate in some areas to make sure we get some points I want to get across, but more importantly, it's to make sure that you walk out of here with the concept of yourself as a brand. And that can apply to your job search, it can apply to your attempts for promotion within current opportunity, and there's obvious application to the business owner and how they market themselves for recruiting, hiring people, raising money, marketing themselves, because we all know, entrepreneurs in the room and everybody in the room, that people is what we buy. And then we might get into a little bit in how to differentiate yourself from your business. That's important sometimes too. You have your personal brand and you have your business brand. Your business might run on its own and might be purchased without you. That would be a good idea, but you still have a brand. You succeeded. And those of you that are trying to start the next thing, that's the transfer. That's why we pay attention to what you're doing moving forward, the expectation we get from you. So we're going to be able to talk about all of these, and it's going to apply to each of your scenarios and situations, and we can have fun with real life discussions about how you as an individual and us as a group can be successful and innovative in our careers and how we build a strategy from that standpoint. That's what we're doing today. We cover a ton of information. I'm going to walk 2 days down into half a day. So some things we're going to cruise through, other things we're going to spend more time on. It really depends on what I see on your faces and the kind of questions you're asking. So is that fair ground rule? Interrupt me, ask questions, make sure that we walk out of here with a good concept of brand, personal brand, and strategy for your career. Okay? In a room, you realize that you're being marketed to perfectly. It's a good fit, a good culture fit. Well, DaVinci Institute is for me, so I do encourage you people, if you're not members, that you do so. These events on Saturday mornings and the Monday evening events and everything else that Tom and Deb do through the year is remarkable. And you hit me right between the eyes today with a couple of the upcoming events. The boogie board. I lived in California for a couple years, and I'm a surfer. I have a 9-foot surfboard here in Colorado, and I make sure I get back to the ocean at least once a year so I can surf. But I created an entire keynote conversation about what I learned from surfing for business, the application to business. The opportunities comes in waves. So I hope I can be there if I'm in town. That's going to be fascinating in its own right. And the affiliate marketing with ClickBank. The strategic career plan we're going through today and my online product called Personal Board of Advisors are both affiliate programs that I sell through ClickBank. So I hope to be there that day too, because I'm in the process of trying to learn how to make that a very successful program for people that are trying to sell career-related and business strategy-related materials. I have the product and the content. They're helping me help you sell it for me, and we can all make money and add value to people. So, geez, talk about a couple events just like that hit me between the eyes. That's what's cool about the DaVinci Institute. So I appreciate what you two are doing, and I truly appreciate being asked and invited to speak with you today, and I appreciate you being here. I want to give you a little bit of background on myself so you know where I'm coming from and why brand and personal brand become such an incredible passion for me. Starting back when I was a kid, 8 years old, I started my first business, and it was serious. We put marketing programs together, and I utilized my friends that had paper routes for marketing purposes in the neighborhood, and we created materials and stuffed them in there to try to get business in the neighborhood for our company. And it was at that age that I realized how proud I was to be able to spend my own money, pull my own dollar out of my pocket when the ice cream man came around. when my brothers and friends were running inside and stealing from Dad's change bowl. I grabbed my own dollar. And that was the first time at a young age that I realized how important it is to take control of your career. I may not have spoke like that at 8 years old, but I understood adding value and doing well and taking care of your community and your neighborhood and getting paid for the value that you bring. I realized that at a young age. I took that through. Going to college, I skipped a little step. In middle school is when I realized advertising was a fascination of mine. I was a very weird kid. I would go to the kitchen and get my snacks during the TV shows and get back in time for the commercials. I love pithy messages. And I wanted to see how people would promote themselves online. And I recognized and realized the individuals that were in position to market products, personal brand, and how they associated. So I was asking a lot of questions at the time and realized Advertising Age magazine would probably have some answers for me. So I subscribed to Advertising Age, and we had Sports Illustrated coming to the house. Ad Age was the one I couldn't wait to flip through. Loved it. A true passion. Reading through Advertising Age in 7th, 8th, 9th grade and through was a big deal for me. I really enjoyed what I learned from the content. Go into high school, went into DECA and competed in marketing type of deals because I love marketing, I love advertising, I'm understanding brand. So fast forward to college, marketing degree of course, my dream and goal was to start an advertising agency. That's what I wanted to do. Coming out of college, an insightful mentor of mine said, David, I love your passion, you're mature beyond your years, you're going to start that advertising agency, but first, go into executive recruiting. What? Go into executive recruiting, hang out with gray hairs, and learn how to build best-in-class teams first for 2 years. And he wrote down on a sticky note, I'm in training. He stuck it to my forehead. And he said, put that on your monitor when I get you a job with a retained executive search firm. In case you don't like it, you're in training. Your training continues. Great advice. I respect this man tremendously and what he was doing for me. He took me under his wing. That advice made sense, even though I was going away from my passion of starting an advertising agency. I had sleepless nights. No, I want to work for an advertising agency and be shoulder to shoulder with the entrepreneur so I can learn the ins and outs and start my own firm soon. I want to do it now. But I listened to what he said. I saw what he saw in me, and I realized I have to go down this path even though I don't know what the path is. So I went into executive recruiting, and that's what I did. I had the opportunity to sit in the boardroom and be the guy, the fly on the wall, taking notes, 24 years old, listening to business speak from C-level and boards, starting businesses, building businesses, and some of the biggest companies in the world. I learned a ton. Oh my gosh, what great experience I had. It started making sense, what Chuck Kaufman was telling me to do. But I still was in training because I had to learn how to pound the phone and be a sales guy, 100 calls a day, those kind of things that didn't occur to me. Then I had to learn how to interview CEOs. And yes, realize that when they're going to look at me, they're going to say, I have to get past this kid. So my job was to make sure that I had credibility with them now. So my strategy was to make sure that I kicked them around on the phone first. I sounded young, but not 24. I sounded 30, right? So I got some experience interviewing people and learning how to get that out there. My strategy, my career was lining up right in front of me and I didn't even realize it. Okay? Then once I had a reputation and credibility, people wanted me to work on it, not the gray hair I was supposed to be the partner with, right? Thinking about the words that my mentor told me. Hang out with the gray hairs. Okay? Experience. Get that experience, load it in. So I had the opportunity to be able to do that. Then, time after time, I started realizing that these individuals that I'm interviewing, first the client, the company, I'm retained by a company, so I go in and I evaluate the leadership, the culture, and what they're trying to do moving forward? Well, being a brand geek, I always saw these people as a brand. And what they told me is marketing. My job was to differentiate between marketing and brand. Then I would go out and find the executives who are marketing themselves to me. A CFO who wants a new job, right? Marketing themselves to me. Using words like ethical, especially after Enron and all the reasons that Sarbanes-Oxley became. Marketing to me what I'm supposed to hear and want to hear. My job is to find out the difference between marketing and brand, which is the experience I actually have with them. Are they saying they're ethical, or are they ethical? I put all this together and bam, my company, Your Brand, just hit me between the eyes. Personal brand. So numerous executives said, David, you need to help people learn how to market themselves more effectively and understand where they're coming from, their core, their passion, their competencies, how to market that and who to market it to. The business owners that come out. I met so many people and continue to today that finally want to get out of corporate America and do something on their own. How do they leverage their background and move it forward? What are the transferable skills? Well, I helped them with that. But I found that I had to stop helping them because my job was to recruit. The in-training message had to come off the monitor. I'm done. It's time for me to start my advertising agency. The difference is my products are people. Your Brand is an advertising agency. You are the product. So that's why I came into my process, and I realized all along that my career strategy was completely different than I thought, and so is yours. So my job is to help you understand where you're coming from so you can be opportunistic and innovative about your career and learn how to grab onto things and move forward. Learning how to have vision for the big picture where your values lie and learning how to ratchet that down to this year with true vision, how to hit the ball and where it's going. Then you can accomplish anything you want to. Anything. When you realize where you're coming from and who cares about it. So that's what we're going to nail today for you. Okay? We're also going to be going through the strategic career plan. I need to bring this back up big for you guys. And by the way, as Deb mentioned, hopefully everyone has something to write on and write with, right? Because we're taking notes today. This is a workshop. We're going to be writing core values-based mission and vision. You're going to be writing your core competencies. You're going to be writing a lot and taking it away with you because you're not going to build a strategy today. You're going to take this with you. So take great notes, ask questions. If there's things you want to make sure you run by me later and not today, this website's where you're going to do it. So I'm going to give you access to this site as your materials. Okay? So take good notes, ask good questions. This is about you. Please, please, please. What's the website? Oh, well, the website is personalboardofadvisors.com. And I'll give everybody a card that we can pass around too to make sure you have my contact information. As a matter of fact, I'll do that now. When you register on the site, then I will see you as a registration and I will upgrade your account to the paid version. And that'll give you access to the strategic career plan and the rest of the content. You can literally ask me questions in there. We can have conversation in there, and that's where this continues to live and where it gets personal for you. Okay? So here's our materials today. That's where you'll go back to make sure you can go in and get the rest and get the details. Fair enough? The question is, how does this apply to the business owners and the entrepreneurs in the strategic career plan process? Well, a personal brand applies to who? You, the individual. My typical client, as a matter of fact, for full personal brand and career strategies are business owners because of the application to their company. They get that application to their company. That personal brand is very applicable. Plus, a lot of our careers change. Multiple careers, we do a lot of different things, and we don't know what that looks like. Most people, at one point in their life, decide that they want to start a business. Maybe not when they're 8 years old like me, but at some point. As a matter of fact, I think everybody is an entrepreneur and everybody is a leader. Every single person born. The difference is most people die before they realize it. Okay? So my job is to make sure that you understand, operate, and run yourself like a business. And if you happen to own and operate a business, you will understand how to apply. The scientists in the room that are trying to learn about the marketing, this is your day. Okay? Does that answer that question?
Yes.
Absolutely. Carl's comment is about being the icon, being the face, the image, the brand of the company. Isn't that what we buy? If you're raising money as a business owner, what do the investors care the most about? And I've been involved in this a ton, especially from the human side. Remember, I'm a recruiter. So I'm reading business plans, I'm reading a lot of information, I'm meeting the teams, and at the end of the day, I'm going to choose whether or not to introduce investors or even think about it for myself based on who? The people, the management team. And it starts with somebody who created the vision and the culture. That's you, regardless of your situation. Not even necessarily and only in career. What are you doing in your community? Are you recognized and branded as a leader in your community? Right? This applies to everything. This is your personal brand. Business, career, family, community. How are you representing yourself and who's buying you? What do you cost? What's your value? Value proposition is a big part of that. So that's why it applies to everybody and every single person in this room. Think about the context in your own life. You ask the questions, and I'll make sure I put it in a situation where the job seeker, the gainfully employed person looking to get promoted, and the teary-eyed visionary entrepreneur all get it at the same time. That's my job. Cool? All right. So I think I want to make sure we understand the difference between brand and marketing first. Is that fun? Is that a fun thing to talk about? Make sure we get that? Okay. This is difficult. A lot of people screw this up. Even marketing executives have a tough time understanding the difference between brand and marketing, and sales and business development for that matter. Why do I know? Why should you care what I say? Well, I've interviewed the best in all of them, over and over and over again. That's where my 10,000 hours is, right? So someone running brand, someone running marketing, someone running business development have completely different philosophy of business, right? So we're going to make sure we separate these things. To make it easy from the beginning, let's talk about business, brand. So when I say brand, and we're thinking about, say, Coke and Pepsi as a product, what comes to mind? What does brand mean to you if you had to define it? Anybody?
The brain picture.
The brand picture?
The brain.
The brain picture. The image. What else? What comes to mind when you think brand? When I say brand, Coke has a brand. Is this a Coca-Cola product? The Aquafina? I forget. This is the Pepsi. This is the Pepsi brand. So what do you think about when you think about brand? Image came up. What else? Trademark. Identity. Quality. Logo? Logo. I'm sorry? Name recognition. What you get out of it. Like a feeling? Could be a feeling. Could be a flavor. I would consider that a feeling. As usual, and this isn't your fault, people, most of what you said are marketing, right? Except for the feeling, the experience. That's brand. So organizations work really, really hard to make sure that their company and their products represent a values-based experience that we, the consumer, have. Then they go out with marketing that represent the brand, like the logo, the color, the materials, the advertising, the marketing. That's why I say there's no ing in brand. Next time you hear branding from anybody, drop off the ing. Unless you have a needle for tattoos or cattle. That's branding. Why? Because that's making a mark from that standpoint, which is still marketing. Branding is marketing. Brand is an experience and a feeling that you have right now. You're judging me based on the experience you have. My brand is going to be something that I'm doing well in articulating to you today, or I'm not. You choose. Just like product. So Coke and Pepsi, I brought that up as an example. We got a Pepsi product here, but let's go to what we think of immediately when we think of Pepsi. That's probably the cola. Fair enough? So we think of Pepsi, some people think of Diet Pepsi. And when I say Coca-Cola, we probably think of cola, Coke or Diet Coke. Fair enough? So let's take Coke and Pepsi. Let's take these two brands, global brands that have spent billions of dollars over the years to make sure that you remember them, right? One of these companies blew it not too long ago in changing the brand. New Coke. They changed the experience, and they blew it. Coke followers love Coke. They changed the experience, the brand, the feeling, the taste, right? Big brand failure. Okay? But more importantly, Coke and Pepsi. Those of you that drink one or the other, why do you choose Coke over Pepsi? Let me ask it this way. How many Coke drinkers in the room? A couple. How many Pepsi drinkers in the room? A couple. And the rest of you either don't care or don't drink either. Or both. Okay. So I'm curious about all of those camps of people. First, Coke drinkers. Why do you choose Coke over Pepsi? If you have a choice and there's one or both are right in front of you, you choose Coke over Pepsi. Why? Why is that?
The taste of it.
The taste. Pepsi drinkers. Why would you choose Pepsi over Coke? Taste. Okay. Am I going to change your perception and your feeling and experience with the taste if I change the logo or the color or anything else about the packaging, the marketing? No. You're dedicated, you're brand loyal, right? Not marketing loyal, brand loyal. Okay? Those of you that don't care, you pick one or both, and they're both right in front of you, do you have any reason why you don't care? They're both a cola, no big deal. There's two in front of me, and I'm going to grab whichever one is closest to my right hand.
I enjoy both of them if I do try them.
Yeah, and those of you that don't drink either, who cares? Right? About this particular example, but stick with me. Okay? So for me, I drink Coke over Pepsi. I don't drink much of either. I'm in that camp. But sure, at luncheons or wherever, and there's Coke and Pepsi out, I will always grab the Coke. But then I'm going to look around for a glass and see if I can get some ice. Why? Because my mom is famous for saying Coke with ice. The film on the ice cube is a big deal for my mom. That's a feeling for me. I don't care. I don't have a preference between the taste. I pick Coke because of the feeling. Coke loves that. They love that people choose because of tradition, experience, feeling, right? So they're working hard to make sure that you feel really good about Coke. So does Pepsi. So does everybody around their product. So do you understand a little bit about the difference, or maybe even a lot about the difference between marketing and brand, and what companies do to try to help you understand an experience and then create marketing to help it stay top of mind for you? So next time you're in a position to make a choice, you're going to recall a good experience, hopefully a good experience. Is that almost crystal clear? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Any no's? Because we can have more examples of this. This is important, folks. We're going to walk out of here understanding your brand so you can market yourself this afternoon better than you ever have. The whole advertising and marketing is to get you in the door, is the comment in question, and brand is to keep you there. And that is a fair assessment. The role of marketing and communications is to create awareness of what? The brand, right? Brands have names, brands have experiences, brands are good, brands are bad. Advertising and marketing's job is to communicate what they perceive as the brand value. However, oftentimes companies screw up in not communicating the brand correctly. And what do we call that as consumers? I'll give you a hint. The number one associated word with advertising is what? False. False advertising. The number one associated word with advertising is false, which means advertising agencies and brand managers have a huge challenge in front of them. That challenge is they've identified a brand, but nobody believes us, or the brand isn't delivering. Imagine you're a company and you say, customer service is our core value, and all we do, everything about us is customer service, but you have a bad experience with customer service? Next time you see a commercial, an ad, marketing, communications that say we're excellent at customer service, what are you going to think? Right, bad brand. You're going to go tell your friends that the customer service sucks, even though they keep running it down our throat via advertising, marketing, communications, that their customer service is phenomenal and excellent and the pride and joy of the company. False advertising. Ouch. Who gets blamed for that? Usually, it's the marketing. That company should focus on what? If they care about the brand values being around customer service, what would they focus on? Customer service. They're going to probably spend a ton of money on training everybody in the organization to be excellent at customer service. They're probably going to recruit people that already have that philosophy within them. Then their marketing isn't false. Got it? Any other questions on or clarifications on brand and marketing from a company and product perspective? Okay, so how about personal brand? When I say personal brand, what does that mean to you?
What do people think when they think of you?
What do people think when they think of you? No different. Everything we just talked about in the last 10 minutes applies to the personal brand. You identify first with who you are. Your core values, your value proposition, what you're selling. Then you put your communication strategy together. So you're great at raising money, you're great at hiring people, you're great at getting your client base, you're adding your values into your events, your products, your business. Your job seekers, your interviewing goes through the roof because you know how to market yourself. The way you open the door. One of you talked about marketing, I believe, as a door opener. So your marketing as a person comes in forms of networking, resumes, bios, websites, how you play on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, my site, Personal Board of Advisors. The experience you want people to have with you. First, you have to identify the experience people want to have with you. You can identify your target market, the people that care. Then your marketing starts to make some sense, just like Coca-Cola does. So if you're going to create new Coke, and you're going to go a totally different direction with your career and with your business, shouldn't you pay close attention to where that decision flow comes from? Make sure that your market understands what you represent. You're not changing the core. Values, competencies. Okay? Personal brand. Any questions on personal brand to make sure that we get a crystal clear understanding of what that means? Personal brand versus marketing yourself. Crystal clear? Yeah? I don't think so. Yes? Are you sure? It's important. If you're going to walk out of here and you're going to get some value from me today, you got to understand the difference between brand and marketing and how to apply that to you as a person, personal brand. Okay? All right. Let's dive in. Any questions? All right. First thing I want to get into is skills and core competencies. What are your skills? And this is a good opportunity to start writing these things down. What are your skills? Your marketable skills that people are buying. Take a few minutes to write down a few of your skills. This is the core competency. Pick one. Who has a core competency in mind? What do we have here? Leaders? Let's say leadership. Or communications. What do you want to play with? Communications? Leadership?
Communications.
Ooh, that's the winner. Communications is a core competency. Now, many of you may have wrote communications down as a skill. Come on, who did it? Right. Communications is a collection of skills. That would make it a core competency. What are the skills that make up great communicators? Listening. What else? Articulate in the way they present. What else? Their presentation skills, their listening skills.
Adaptable to the person you're speaking to.
Command of the facts.
Say that again?
Command of the facts.
Command of the facts.
Precise.
No, it's really what you're talking about. A little BS is good, but
I'm writing down communications here. That's the core competency made up of a bunch of skills. But we're also breaking these down too. Let's take listening. What are listening skills? How can you prove to me that you're a great listener? Anyone can market to me that they're a listener, right? How do you prove to me that you're a great listener?
Rephrase what you say back to you.
You can repeat back to me what I said.
in a different way.
Yeah, rephrase.
Rephrase. What else?
So it's a response, it's interaction.
A response and interaction. If we're thinking about brand, go ahead, Tom.
Write up a summary of what you just discussed.
Write up a summary of what you discussed. Well, these are great business development, sales, marketing tactics, aren't they? If you're great at listening, and we picked communication as a group as the core competency that we want to talk about. So you're going in and you're marketing yourself to a CEO for a job, a recruiter, funding sources, the CFO you want to hire for your business, your first sales manager, whatever. Apply it to your life. Entrepreneurs, job seekers, everyone in the room can apply this to their business and their life, right? You're the CEO of you. So it applies to everything. How are you going to prove to me that you're great at listening? And we're thinking about brand, which is an experience that I have with you. So if my experience with you is that you're a great listener, what am I experiencing? Some of these you mentioned.
What about credibility or sincerity?
Sincerity. Where does sincerity come from in relation to listening? Eyes.
Tone of voice.
Tone of voice. If you're on the phone, you can't see the eyes, but you can probably tell that somebody's listening.
Yeah, emotion would be.
Yeah. The response, a lot of the things that you said. So you see how we're even breaking listening down, the skills that make up listening, which are part of the skills making up communications as a core competency. Now this is important because when you're marketing yourself in any of your individual situations, you want to do enough homework about the person, people, group in front of you that you're going to market the right skills to them. If communications is a core competency, you're most competent in communications, you're going to want to market the skills that they care about. Are they looking for someone that is a great listener or can articulate their message better? Which is it? If you do your homework and learn, then you can prove to them which side of the communication competency you possess, because that's what they're going to buy, right? That's going to raise your value. They'll pay you more because they trust that you are, in fact, excellent at communications. You don't just say it on your bio and your resume. Got it? So, many of you, we all make this mistake. I do too. When you're writing down your skills, you're writing down often your competencies. So I challenge you to go away after our time together this morning and break down what you wrote down as your skills. What makes that skill excellent? Like communications and leadership. Who wants to shout out another skill that they wrote down? We covered them all? And this is your opportunity to make sure that we can break this down so you understand. Because the ability to market your skills effectively is huge.
And when, I can usually see core patterning in people.
Okay?
Contribute to the initial symptom they come to me with, and when I see it, and I don't know if you want me to break that down into skills.
Well, what I want you to do is make that pithy. How do you tell me that in a 2-second statement? Because we're all judging you right now. And we're all judging each other. So stand up. We're here together to make sure that we're all successful, right? It's okay.
Yeah.
So break that down into a quick statement that we can all evangelize for you. What would it be?
I can see and shift core patterns,
Or core beliefs?
core beliefs.
There you go. Because now we can understand what beliefs means, right? Patterns means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Like, I could draw a pattern,
Right.
right? So using words, like a great advertising agency does, pulling out the right words, beliefs. Now we understand what beliefs means. So we have a better sense just from that switch in what she does. True? So what is the core competency that you possess that's going to prove to this room that you're excellent at helping people shift their core beliefs? With your training, your experience, what's that thing?
Awareness.
Awareness.
Direct awareness
Of people?
of not the people themselves, but the way they're carrying them, the way they're holding their beliefs.
Okay, so how do you uncover how they hold their beliefs?
I didn't say, but I'm very intuitive. I can see things that are unconscious.
Stop. That's exactly right. So now we're working onto something that makes sense to us. You have to prove intuition.
Right.
Saying that you're intuitive to us says, okay, we believe or don't believe you. Brand. If we believe you and believe you're intuitive because we get to know you and we care about you, then we're probably going to hire you or refer business to you because we believe your intuition is going to change our friend's life and how they see themselves. Fair? If you do something that goes against our own belief in you, then we have a problem. You have a problem. So your job, all of our jobs, is to make sure that that core competency is something you live every day. You are that person. Okay? Most people struggle with this stuff, and that's how everyone in this room is going to separate themselves from the pack, by thinking about the experience that others have with you. Always, constantly. Your brand. So you don't change your formula like Coca-Cola did unless you're going in a completely different direction. If you're awesome at what you do, you don't need to do that. So a couple different perspectives around the core competency and what you market in that example is going to be helpful in how you communicate. Who else?
Strategy development.
Strategy development is a core competency.
Yeah.
Okay. And did you write that as a skill?
Yes.
Good. Don't we all? Right. So strategy and development, you could have wrote twice. Strategy and development. So what are the skills that make you strategic? And thanks for playing. This is hard, and we're going to help.
I picked this one because I was listening to you break this down
Yeah.
here and going, I'm not sure.
Right, awesome. Thank you for being honest. Everyone is thinking the same thing right now, right? This critical thinking becomes very important. This is deliberate. So your job is to go away and learn what strategy means, right? And what you bring to strategy. So when I hire you to help me do some strategic work, I know what I'm buying. Everybody. Okay? So pick that word and break them down. I'm going to critical think what everybody says in this room, unless someone comes out with a very specific skill that they can apply to a core competency that makes me want to hire you now. And if you do, I might, or someone in this room might. Okay? So this is why it's hard. Very, very difficult. Companies spend a lot of money to bring executives to Beaver Creek, Colorado, to do strategy sessions, and they don't know what the heck they're doing. Why? Because they don't know what strategy means. I'm not saying you don't know what strategy means. You might. But a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't know the difference between brand and marketing, but they go to a company and help them with that. We're going to spend a lot of time on mission and vision today.
Would you define strategy or strategic?
Will I?
Yeah.
Sure. Well, from my,
There.
we're going through a strategic career plan right now, right? This product is called a strategic career plan. So everything we're talking about today is going to define strategy. Everything, that's the question. Can I define strategy? Strategy, from my perspective, is identifying these cores first. Then going out to your environment and understanding the trends in your environment, what's happening. Then you formulate a strategy. You know who you are, you know your environment and your trends, you formulate a strategy, you execute and review. Those of you that saw the write-up that we did for this boot camp might remember that is what we're doing today. Know yourself, understand your environment, formulate a strategy, execute and review.
Can you say that again, please?
Know yourself, and that's what we're doing right now. We're through that process. We're going through that process. Then we're going to look at our environment, which means, and what I said is understand your environment is point 2. Understand your environment means, what's your environment? Your industry, the trends. Why are you about to lose your job and you don't know it? Why is your company going to go under and you don't know it? Or we like to be positive around here, so what are the trends that you can grab onto to be real successful? Right? I had to let a lot of recruiters go, business development people go, in my day as an executive recruiter, because they didn't use the phone. Especially when LinkedIn came on board. And email. I remember going to the library and doing SIC code research. And then going back to my office and calling every single company. Who's your vice president of finance? Who's your chief operating officer? Because I couldn't go to their website. I couldn't go to LinkedIn. This wasn't that long ago, folks. I'm 35 years old. Right? This was not that long ago. That's how I started in the business. I learned how to research really well. Then I had a team of 33 people who came into the environment different than I did. My job was to teach them their new environment, their new trends. People that didn't get on board, I had to help them find something else. That was my fault. People that did get on board and learn how to utilize technology and learn how to do what we do really well in recruiting executives, got to stay. And that happened in about a 2-year period. It was dramatic and amazing for me to watch. Your environment is changing faster now than it ever has in our careers. So understanding your environment after you know yourself is huge in your ability to formulate a strategy. So first thing you have to do is understand who you are, which is core values, mission, vision. It's core competencies, which we're doing right now, right? Value proposition, what do you have to offer? What do we care about? Then you go to your environment to determine who cares about these things. You have to identify these things before you actually put the plan together. All of this is part of strategy, right? Then, when your plan changes, maybe your strategy changes, it's because you learned something new in your environment, you met somebody new, you had a different perspective, the internet came around, right? Or whatever it is. Whatever came around in your environment, in your world, might have changed your strategy. But you know yourself so well and you know your environment so well, you can switch on a dime along those areas. That strategic move is important. All of it is implemented in your plan, your strategic plan. Core competencies, core values, mission, and vision. Your value proposition, which has a market analysis part to it. You can't do a value proposition. We're doing all this today, folks. You can't do a value proposition correctly if you don't understand your market first. Fair? Is that not a strategic concept? Okay. Now, people can define strategy in a lot of different things, a lot of different ways. But strategy doesn't work if you don't know who you are, what you have to offer, And who cares about it? So you can put the plan together. It's very complicated. Very, very complicated. And that's why we're not going to solve the world's problems here today.
Yes, we are.
Right. Different lights go on and different things happen. And the way you define strategy applied to yourself, to your business, to who you are, and how you're going to move forward this afternoon to implement your strategy. Learn about the mistakes you're making, and we all do, so you can make those adjustments and your strategy continues to live strong and breathe and change. The strategic career plan is just that. As you get more experience and have a different perspective of something, won't your strategy change? This whole process is a complete blast. And the good thing about being a business owner who doesn't know anything about business, your core competencies around science or other things, right? The learning about the business concepts and applying them to yourself as an individual, in my experience and why I started your brand, is you can apply it very well to your business. You can learn what brand and marketing and strategy is without having to go 4 years and get a degree. As a matter of fact, it's probably the worst thing you can do, in my honest opinion. For the entrepreneurs that have skills in other things, an MBA destroys entrepreneurs that have passion around other things. Sorry.
Try JD.
Right. So learning how to build strategy and surrounding yourself with people that understand the concepts, like a big tool in strategy we're going to do today is mission and vision. And how many companies screw up mission and vision, which is a strategic process they go through about their strategy? Almost all of them. And when we get to that point, I'm going to tell you stories to prove it.
Okay, one last comment and then I will try and drop this.
Okay. No, we can. This is. Is everyone having fun with the strategy conversation?
Okay, so it really feels to me like when we're talking about strategy,
Yeah.
we're talking really a lot more about tactics. And we're confusing those two.
Okay.
Because tactics is how you implement your strategy. And strategy in my mind is really picking the right goal.
Okay. How do you pick the right
I
goal?
disagree with that. I think strategy is how you get there. It's the game plan. So for instance, today, the goal is to market ourselves better, or that's my goal perhaps, for this. Now, how you accomplish it, that's your strategic plan. For instance, there's this buzzword, I'm in the high-tech sector anyhow, strategic marketing.
Right.
The guys, they throw in a bunch of business people, no offense to you guys.
Right.
They have no clue how to accomplish, say, the goal is to increase the market share by 30%.
Right.
They have no clue to how to get there.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
strategy is how you get there. It's not the goal itself.
Mission and vision
Exactly.
is going to be a very, very important part, and where we spend the most time today on mission and vision, because you can't have strategy of any kind without having a vision. And to your point, which I happen to agree with, and I want to make sure that we all understand to the best of our ability the tactics and the understanding of this piece, and then apply it to ourselves, wordsmith it, agree or disagree with the way I say it or anyone else says it, but understand that you have to have a vision and believe it in your heart and soul so you can communicate it effectively, among other things, in your mission to get to that point. That entire workflow and process is strategy. It's huge. It's a big, big deal of having a good strategy that is fluid and changes constantly. The other thing that I find fascinating about strategy and plans, I get in debate with many people about why they don't write a business plan. I think everyone should write a business plan, but not just because they're doing it. The biggest reason I think people should have a business plan or a personal business plan, which is the strategic career plan, is to understand where you went wrong, so you can communicate effectively why you went wrong. That's the best part of a plan. What happened? What didn't work with the strategy? So you can apply that. Any questions, comments? We have a couple minutes. We're going to take a break. And then we'll wrap up this part of the strategy conversation, which came from core competencies. Awesome. Thank you very much. Any comments? Where am I wrong? Where am I right? How can we help this dialogue go a little bit further? Yes, sir. here's the goal. We set this. This has to happen before we do this. Fair? And then we cruise along our plan with our timed goal. By December 31st, 2009, we're going to accomplish X. And this is how we're going to do it. This is our strategy. We line up. We evaluate when we get to the next point, the next point. We may be off track. We may be on track. We evaluate all along these steps to get to reaching our goal of X by December 31st, 2009. I can't wait to do the mission and vision stuff with you folks. And we're going to do that because this has been a hot point of discussion, and it always is, because strategy has a different tactic and skills and points that go along to it depending on your discipline, your industry, lots of things. This is complicated, folks. So when we apply it to yourself as an individual and learn how to build your own strategy to accomplish your goals and get to where you want to be, you're going to be way better off than everybody else. Just from being here today and thinking about this process and critical thinking yourself to a point where you can't lose with your ability to market yourself and your strategy to accomplish that goal, huge. Okay, we're going to take a little bit of a break. How long is the break?